Hi, this is Jay with Pryor Coaching. Thanks so much for joining me. This week I want to talk about triggers and or being triggered. The holidays are coming up and you may be with your family of origin and, I don't know, it's just the holidays can be a time when people experience being triggered. So I want to explain a little bit about what that means. What we know about the brain is that it essentially stores every one of your experiences throughout your entire lifetime. And whether you know it or not, those programs, are running in the background of your brain. And for example, if a child is traumatized by being burned with a cigarette, that child could smell a cigarette and go into a trauma response, meaning that they might be fearful, anxious, even respond by anger. You never know what a trauma response is. Well, I know for a fact from myself and from all the people I've worked with that even things that may not be a major trauma can still have triggers. So you could have been teased by a sibling, for example, when you were a little kid, and it had you respond a particular way. And now you're 36 years old and you go home for the holidays and that particular sibling says something to you and you're going to go into a trigger. You're going to have been triggered into responding the way you would whenever you were 12. And when that happens, often we are not conscious of it, and it shows up like we're angry or we're frustrated or we're defensive or we're feeling gritchy, and we make it mean that it's because people around us are being jerks or the traffic stinks or I'm just tired or whatever it is. And so I just want you to be conscious about being triggered. Recently I had a triggering experience where I was walking around triggered for like 3 days before I realized what was going on with me. Now, I have a formula that I use when I notice that I'm coming from the past, and that's basically what's happening, is that your brain is responding from a place in the past and not in the moment. And it keeps you from being able to be present in the moment with the people in your life. So I have a little bit of a formula I'd like to share. If the first one is to notice, right? You have to notice that it's happening. You got to get in the inquiry with yourself around what is going on, and maybe go back to the moment at when you started to feel kind of grumpy or gritchy or whatever's happening. So first you have to notice, and then you stop, right? And then you give yourself some time to breathe and be present with yourself. And then I say, you want to give yourself a little bit of a pat right here, right? And you tell yourself that you're going to work it out and that you will deal with this. Because the deal is, and in the book Spiritual Intelligence by Cindy Wigglesworth, I love this. She talks about how in personal development, in personal development, often we hear that when the ego is in charge and it's mouthing off, that we need to tell it to be quiet or thanks for sharing, but we're not going to listen to you. Well, I love that Cindy Wigglesworth points out that the ego has something to say, and it just may not be mature enough to say it in a way that is powerful, right? It may be kicking and screaming because it doesn't have the maturity to be able to let you know what's going on. So you want to acknowledge that part of you, acknowledge that ego, acknowledge that part of you that's been hurt from the past, and say to yourself, I will deal with this in my time, right? And then make a commitment to work with your coach, get to a safe place where you can process, get into forgiveness, start to work on getting complete with your past, which we've talked a lot about. And that way, in the moment, you can give it up and get present and really enjoy and be with your peeps during the holidays. So I just wanted to share that with you today and have your eyeball this week and upcoming holidays on your own triggers and when you're being triggered, and stop yourself, breathe, acknowledge yourself, know that you're going to deal with it, and then get into the moment. That's all I got this week. Thanks for joining me.